Transformers Dark of the Moon is my favorite movie of the Transformers franchise, followed by the first Transformers, followed by Age of Extinction, and then followed by Revenge of the Fallen, which is my least favorite. Okay, so where will the last night stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, the Fire Brothers here, it's just me. My brother's gonna make his own review later, so stay tuned for that if you want a squeaky review. But, okay, so, like to be expected, a lot of critics are bashing the movie as usual because, well, most of them hate Transformers, and some of them just don't like the Michael Bay movies, which is understandable. But now you're gonna hear my review from someone who likes Transformers, and I gotta admit, the movie was, well, I think I should describe the movie first. So, spoilers if you haven't watched The Last Night. I watched it yesterday in Optimus Prime time, and I got a cool t-shirt of Bumblebee, which was pretty cool, I gotta admit. That was a nice detail. Alright, so, let me start. So, the film starts in medieval times, just like I predicted, and we see Dragonstorm and Merlin. Basically, Merlin takes command of Dragonstorm, and Dragonstorm turns the tide of the battle. And we see the knights, and later it cuts down to present day, and we see that the Transformers, most of them, are illegal, thanks to President Trump, who probably is trying to deport all of them. I'm just joking, don't take that offensively. And yeah, we got a lot of shots of reused models, and oh my god, they're reused models in this movie. Like, I get why they do it, but I mean, at least for some of them, they were like obscure generic models, like Junk Heap. I bet none of you remember him. He was in Age of Extinction, and they reused his model a couple times. Or Scrapper, like we saw him in the Junkyard. Or Topspin and LEADFOOT. Like we saw Topspin's body with LEADFOOT's head. The first time I saw him, I was like, Topspin? Is that you? But it had LEADFOOT's head. No, that's not Topspin or LEADFOOT. That's some generic character. After that, we get to meet the kids, and I'm gonna say I'm actually kind of glad, really happy that the kids didn't stay for long. We got to meet Isabella, and I'm really happy, and I called it. The whole fight like a girl thing, it wasn't there. Like, I'm really happy for that. I called it. We see Canopy die, which was pretty sad, I guess. Kate arrives, he saves the kids. He receives the amulet from one of the Steelbane copics. No, from Steelbane. I think that, yeah, Steelbane. That was Steelbane. And we see Barricade spying on him. And Barricade had a voice, which I gotta admit, I was kind of happy about. And after that, we skip to the Junkyard. We see the Autobots. Then we meet the Decepticons. I was kind of disappointed we didn't see Barricade and Megatron breaking the Decepticons out of jail. Instead, Megatron kind of just negotiated with the humans to get them out of jail. Which, I gotta admit, that was a smart move, you know, get some reinforcements. But overall, the Decepticons didn't play too much of a major role in the movie. They were here from time to time. I mean, towards the end, yeah, they did play a major role. And a couple stuff happens. The Decepticons basically track down the Autobots, and they go and fight them. Now, during the Junkyard scene where the Decepticons are there, we see Starscream's head. I was like, oh my god. But the weird thing, it's perfectly intact. That's not how I remember it being in Dark of the Moon. Could this mean that Starscream could come back? Because, I mean, they brought back Megatron by just having his head, so why not? Why could it not be the same thing for Starscream, you know? Also, something I want to point out. They took notes from Suicide Squad. I know the movie wasn't that good, but I mean, for the Decepticon part scene, we see Megatron say, I want Mohawk, Onslaught, Berserker. And we saw the name tags, and we saw like a small scene of them. I gotta admit that I kind of like the Decepticons. They had personality. For example, Mohawk was this psychopath, Barricade was this loyal soldier, Nitro was this punk, Dreadbot, Berserker was Berserker. Ha ha ha. See what I did there? Ha. I'm so funny. Okay, anyways. Onslaught was bland. I'm really disappointed. And during the Autobots vs Decepticon fight, it lasted really short. We see Dreff and Crossers take down Onslaught, and oh my god, why? We see Mohawk being taken out by Bumblebee. Megatron, Nitro, and everyone else kinda just retreats as the Grimlock shows up. Because, you know, they were outnumbered. And which reminds me, we didn't see a lot of Grimlock or the other Dinobots. But then during the scene, the DRF kind of follows Cade and company because of the medallion that Steelbane gave Cade earlier in the movie. And then we meet Cogman. And basically, you know, the whole thing in Crossers happens. And Cogman's basically like saying, "You gotta come with me, sir. It's of utmost importance." And Cade's like, "No, I'm not leaving. You better leave or you're gonna put your friends in danger. Because they're hunting you, not them." To me, I was like, I don't know. Even if Cade was gone, I'm pretty sure they will still wanna hunt down the other Autobots. But anyways, so Cade leaves to London with Bumblebee, Cogman. Then we meet the romantic interest. What's her name? Oh, BBN. Yeah, I think that's her name. I'm sorry. I finally memorized her name. And then we had this interesting scene with Sir Edmund, which he shows, you know, how the Transformers have been throughout history. How his secret organization, the Illuminati, has kept it hidden for so long. Oh, and Simon's in the movie too. I guess that was a nice detail, and I kind of like how he was trying so hard to be part of the Illuminati. Like, that was actually pretty funny. Anyway, so now they're looking for. So after, you know, Sir Edmund tells them that BBN's the descendant of Merlin, only she can use the staff, and that Cade's a knight, he was chosen to help her, and stuff like that. They head out to, you know, try to find clues to where they can find the staff and where or how Quintessa's gonna arrive, which Sir Edmunds finds a book about it in the library. Anyway, so the humans start chasing them. We see Barricade chasing them, and we see Bowie versus Barricade. And oh my god, did they tricked us so bad. In the TV commercials, we saw Barricade versus Bumblebee. We did saw that happening. But in the movie, we only saw Bumblebee shot Barricade, and Barricade kind of just fell like a clown. And Bumblebee kept on rolling. I was like, are you serious? You clickbait so much. I was expecting to see an awesome Bumblebee versus Barricade. But no, Barricade just gets shot once and that's it for him. At least he's still alive. Anyways, moving on. Sir Edmund, Cade, and BBN later meet on the submarine. And Sir Edmund leaves because he says he's too old and stuff. But he leaves Cogman with them, so they should probably be safe. Then they're pursued by the human forces in the submarine. Bumblebee's with them. I don't know. I didn't really like the underwater scenes, to be honest. I think we could have just skipped that all together and focus on more on developing the story. Then we had the submarine. I want to call it the submarine because I don't really know what it is. I don't really remember what it's called, but it's the big device that comes out of the water that we saw in the trailers where Optimus and Bumblebee fight. Apparently they find the stuff, Optimus shows up, and everyone's like shocked to see Optimus. And Kate for some reason says, you know, no, just give him the stuff, like we can't beat him or something. I don't know, the whole scene felt kind of weird in my opinion. But after that, Kate tells Bumblebee, you're the only one who can stop Optimus, you need to get the staff back. And we see Optimus versus Bumblebee. And I gotta admit, we kind of saw most of the fight in the trailers. Like, they kind of reveal a whole bunch of it in the trailers. We did get to see a few new scenes here and there, but overall, we didn't see a lot of them. We didn't see a lot of new stuff from the battle. Oh, but I'm in the topic of evil Optimus. We see Optimus, he was stranded in space. He makes it to Cybertron. Or Cybertron makes it to him. It's not really specified that well. Supposedly, Quintessa was going to Earth for was moving Cybertron to Earth for a long time. And there, like, Quintessa kind of corrupts Optimus to put him on his side, and she explains that the Knights, Dragonstorm, they stole the stuff from her, the item that could, you know, restore Cybertron, and that she wants to destroy Earth because Earth is Unicron. And now I gotta admit, they kind of took this from Transformers Prime, the writers room. The writers, they kind of took this from Transformers Prime, because in Transformers Prime, Earth is Unicron. Well, it's more like the core is Unicron, but it's pretty much the same thing. And throughout the movie, we see these horns, which is supposedly is Unicron's mouth, like coming out of the ground, which are the signs of the apocalypse or something, which that's what Sir Edmund said. Anyway, so during the fight, the most shocking thing happened. Bumblebee talked. Like, I was like, wait, really? So all these movies, Ratchet couldn't fix you, but K could fix you. Wow. I mean, I found that a bit shocking, but I also like the fact that Optimus was shocked about it. Like, he hadn't heard Bumblebee's voice in so long. He was like, Bumblebee. Like, I don't know. I actually kind of like that scene, not gonna lie. Like, that was really touching to me. Then the Knights show up, and they sentence Optimus to death for helping Quintessa. But then K, the amulet that K had, it turns into Excalibur, which I called that. I knew that was gonna happen. And Excalibur is strong enough to deflect a giant sword from a knight. And that was actually pretty interesting. It never gets explained, like, why he's holding Excalibur or something like that. At least it wasn't made that very clear to me. Sorry if I'm being so vague, but the movie was kind of vague on this as well. And it didn't explain things very well, but I'm gonna get more on it later. So anyways, the Autobots show up with Lockdown ship. Apparently the merchant guy, Redguard, if he even is Redguard, gave them the ship. And then the Autobots with their new ship and the Knights reinforcements start fighting against the Decepticons, who were working with Quintessa. And that explains how Megatron has the red mark, because Quintessa gave it to him. But something I don't get is, how did Megatron become Galvatron? Like, I guess you could say Quintessa turned Galvatron into Megatron again. But what I don't get is, how did Galvatron made it out of the planet? I mean, we know he can fly because of the movie. We saw Megatron flying without transforming. So maybe he did an Optimus and made it to Cybertron first, or something. I don't know. That never got explained, and that really bugged me. Then we have Megatron, Barricade, and Nitro, the remaining Decepticons. Oh, and Dreadbot. Well, Dreadbot wasn't there. I think he went missing or something. I'm not sure if Dreadbot died. I think he's alive. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. I don't know what happened to Dreadbot. I wasn't paying attention to him. But basically, Barricade, Nitro fight against the human forces in Stonehenge. And we see Sir Edmund shooting at Megatron. And I gotta admit, that scene was actually kind of cool. And Sir Edmund passing away and Cockman being the son, like, out of all the people I served, you were the coolest. Like, I was actually pretty good. Like, that was funny and that was really sweet. I really like Cockman. Cockman is probably one of my favorite characters from the movie. So anyways, Megatron uses the staff and he basically brings the floating ship to Stonehenge. And that kind of creates a laser that connects to Cybertron. And then Cybertron begins the process of repairing itself, basically healing itself by destroying Unicron and taking its essence, its energy basically. Then Optimus and the humans show up, and then Optimus gives his usual speech that he needs to stop Quintessa, and it's gonna be their finest hour. Not gonna lie, that got me a bit hyped. Okay, so after that we see the humans getting ready to, you know, go to the ignition chamber, which is gonna go to the room where Quintessa is, and where they're basically gonna be doing their final battle. And we see Dragonstorm, and I gotta admit, Dragonstorm was kind of like the Dinobots of this movie, like of HOX. Dragonstorm, and then we see Dragonstorm, and I gotta admit, Dragonstorm was kind of the Grimlock of this movie, because in the previous movie we saw Grimlock and the other Dinobots, but they were in the movie really late. And in the last night we see Dragonstorm, but he appears only in the final battle. Oh, and also at the start, if you wanna count that. But he didn't really do much. I would have loved to see Dragonstorm and Quintessa meet face to face again, like they did in medieval times, supposedly. Anyway, so Vivienne, Kate, and Isabella, who joins them for some reason. Oh, she was barely in the movie, I gotta say that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I honestly thought she was a really interesting character because of her background and stuff like that. And her relationship with Squeaks was pretty good too. So they all go and they all start fighting against the Decepticons. We see Bumblebee, Hound, Hot Rod do their last stand. Crossers was absent again. Drift was somewhere around there, I guess. I don't know what he was doing, but he was somewhere doing his own stuff. The Dinobots were missing. Really? You bring the Autobots. You bring the giant ship, but you can't bring the Dinobots? Okay, I guess it makes sense because they are too OP, honestly. They will just wreck the Decepticons. Megatron was even afraid of, you know, fighting Grimlock head on. So the whole big fight happens. Squeaks destroy the weapon that basically didn't allow the jets, the human reinforcements, to give them air superiority. And I was kind of weird how such a small Autobot can destroy such a big weapon. That's one of the parts that threw me a little off. And we see Infernicus. Infernicus was actually pretty good. Like, he was taking a lot of punishment. And we see Optimus arriving riding Dragonstorm, and he takes on Infernicus. But of course, we all know how it ended. We saw a couple new scenes of Optimus versus Infernicus, but we all know how he dies. Come on, we saw it on the TV spots in the trailer too. After that, basically the humans decide to basically nuke one of the islands. I don't know how you call it, but basically there was this part of the Cybertron just floating around. They were gonna nuke it, and it was gonna fall down and bring down the ignition chamber with it. Then BBN and came in a decision, and they decided to stay and help the Autobots because they believed it wasn't gonna work. And they were right. The human strategy did not work, and then it was up to BBN and the Autobots to steal the staff and stop Quintessa. So in there we see the remaining Decepticons and the Autobots fight for one last time. Oh, I also gotta point out, Hot Rod has this sick new weapon that slows down time, and he used it against Galvatron, and I was pretty amazing in how Hot used the bullets. And once time stopped, Megatron just got hit by all those bullets. We also saw Optimus and Megatron fight. Well, the fight was really short, and Megatron was outnumbered, honestly. I think if it was a 1v1, it would have been more fair. But Optimus basically cut down Megatron's arm. And then Megatron was like, "We were brothers once." And then Optimus said, "Yeah, once." And then he basically kicks Megatron out of the ignition chamber. A lot of people are saying that Megatron's dead. They just brought Megatron back to die again. Now, I want to say, no, that's not the case. Megatron is alive. He can fly, okay? So, even if he fell down like thousands of feet to the ground, he can fly, so he's gonna be safe. And besides, they're not gonna kill Megatron off screen like that. Now, we saw and we also see Bumblebee taking out Nitro. Ugh. I wanted Nitro and Onslaught to live. But no, since they're reused models, I guess Michael Bay had to kill them. Then we saw Quintessa and Optimus have a small brawl. And I like how Optimus was like, "Say hello to my little friend, Bumblebee." And Bumblebee was like, "Sting like a bee." I gotta admit, that part was actually pretty good. Like, a lot of people might not like it. Well, some people might not like it. I think a lot of people like that scene. I actually thought it was pretty good. And then the ignition chamber basically falls off because BBN took the staff. Hot Rod saves BBN and Kate with his time-stopping gun, which I had to say that actually came in handy. Like, that actually played an important role somehow, saving the main protagonist. So good job, Hot Rod. Good job. And after that, the Autobots and Optimus reunite after saving Kate and BBN with the other humans. And Optimus says that their worlds are like now basically one because they're both connected, Earth and Cybertron. And now Optimus and the remaining Autobots with the lockdown ship are going back to Cybertron to try and rebuild it. And Optimus calls all the Autobots to go back home to help them rebuild. And the movie ends like that with Dragonstorm, the Autobots going back trying to rebuild Cybertron, which is not connected to Earth, literally. And we see Quintessa in a post-credit scene because cinematic universe, you gotta have post-credit scenes now. We see Quintessa in a human form, and she's talking to this random human saying that it doesn't like it when you touch him. I can show you how to kill him. So basically Quintessa took a human form, and she's still around, she did not die. Which I gotta admit, I'm kinda happy because in most films, the main villain almost always dies. Saturn Prime, The Fallen, Lockdown. Quintessa's the only exception, and Megatron. To some extent. And the movie pretty much ends like that. So that's basically, that's the basic summary of the movie. Sorry if I wasn't that clear, but that's the best way I could explain it. I only saw the movie one time. I saw it during Optimus Prime time, 3D IMAX. And now I'm gonna start talking about the good. I'm gonna start talking about the bad. Alright, listen, so I'm a Transformers fan. I love G1, I love Beast Wars, I love Animated Prime, the toys. I'm even gonna get some The Last Night toys. Even though I don't play with them, I would just collect some to have them on my shelf. Someday I might show you my collection. But I'm gonna point out when Transformers is BS, okay? For example, Devastator having balls, or the Fallen being, you know, an empty villain. Transformers 4 being like really slow. I'm gonna call it out when it's bad, okay? I'm not like the Raging Nation who has been hyping up the movie, and he's been receiving a lot of hate because he basically hyped up the movie since the start, okay? And since he talked bad about it, yeah, I saw his review. A lot of people are giving him hate. I don't think he deserves that hate at all, because that's his opinion. Everyone has opinions. If you like the movie, that's fine. If you hated the movie, that's fine. Doesn't matter. We all have opinions. Now, I didn't really hype up the movie. I started talking about the movie when the first trailer came out. From there on, since it was my most popular video, my most popular topic, I kept on doing more Transformers, and I eventually, you know, kept on going and talking about it, and here we are now. Now, I've been hyping the movie, I'm gonna say that, but I also been talking about how it could fail, some of the things I'm not looking forward to. I did make some videos talking about that, okay? So don't get mad at me for saying some bad things that you probably didn't like. But we're gonna start with the good thing. The CGI was amazing. You gotta admit, whether you like this movie or not, the CGI, some of the set pieces, they were gorgeous to look at. The Decepticons, the Autobots, the Transformers overall, they were like really good to look at. Like they were pretty realistic to some degree. And every time we saw Transformers on screen, it looked good, okay? Even the mini Dinobots. Well, the mini Dinobots were the ones who didn't look that, you know, that good. But I don't know, everything else looked good. Even the giant planet thing, which I gotta admit, I like some of the shots of that. Like, they were gorgeous, okay? In comparison to Age of Extinction, you can tell that the graphics here, the CGI, it's a lot better because they shot with better cameras, better stuff, you know, more advanced techniques. The film looks gorgeous. I'm gonna give it that. The action in this movie was kind of lacking compared to the other action scenes, but we still got some memorable fight scenes, or some memorable scenes, because there were more scenes than fight scenes here. For example, the London chase, the Decepticons rising scene, the final battle, the confrontation with Quintessa, Optimus riding Optimus riding Dragonstorm, I mean. Bumblebee versus Optimus. Like, we got some really good action scenes. The comedy was also spot on. Like, this was probably the funniest Transformers film I've seen. Transformers 1 was hit and miss. Transformers 2 was atrocious in terms of jokes. Transformers 3 was alright, I guess. Transformers 4, the humor got toned down for the most part, which I was kind of happy about. Still, I thought it was alright. And the last night we got tons of funny jokes. A lot of the time I could hear most of the audience in the room laughing because Cockman was really funny. Some of the Autobots were actually pretty funny. The Decepticons, here and there. Okay, something else I like is that they did a lot of callbacks to the previous movies. We got to see Egypt, the pillars, What else did we saw? We didn't see the Matrix like I theorized we will see, but we did saw the line from the first movie. Without sacrifice, there can be no victory. Or we also saw Starscream's head, which was a big one, and a lot of callbacks to previous Decepticons like Shockwave, Soundwave, which it kind of made me question why would they bring the which made me question this. Why would they mention this particular Decepticons unless they're not gonna use them anymore? I'm guessing we're probably gonna see Shockwave and Soundwave make a comeback on a spin-off film, because apparently the spin-off films are gonna be set in the past. For example, like the Bumblebee spin-off that's coming up. And I gotta admit, the movie did a pretty good job world building, like setting up things. For example, Cuba is a safe spot for Transformers. The TRF are hunting them down. Some of them like the Transformers, some of them hate them. We have no ghost zones from the government. We saw how the kids, the people basically react to all these things. It was kind of interesting to see this whole thing, you know, this whole world react, this whole world, you know, how it functions basically. I think the movie did a good job creating a world for the cinematic universe that's coming up. The music was also pretty good. I honestly, for all movies, even Revenge of the Fallen, you can say that the soundtracks, the music, it was great. Like everything, the soundtracks are always amazing to hear. In this movie, I didn't really notice a lot of, you know, unique soundtracks. I mean, I did notice some, but none that stuck up to me. But I mean, the same thing happened to me for Age of Extinction, where at the beginning I didn't really notice anything. But when I watched the film for a second time, I heard the soundtrack and I was like, this is pretty good, I need to hear more of it. So that's why I'm basically saying that the music was pretty good. I did notice a few soundtracks that got released before. And the movie did a pretty good job with the music, the soundtracks. Good job. The action was also pretty spot on, like I said. The explosions, typical Michael Bay. The robot screen time was also a big part. The Transformers in this movie, they all had so much screen time. We saw more than half the film, they were there on like previous films. In this time, Michael Bay and his crew weren't lazy with the transformations. We saw Drift transform, we saw Hound transform, we saw Crossers transform. We didn't see Optimus transform, which was kind of weird. But we basically saw everyone else transform. At least once. Okay, so I talked about all the good so I already talked about all the good stuff. Now I'm gonna talk about the bad stuff, and then I'm gonna give you my review. Where will I place The Last Night in terms of the whole movie franchise, from best to worst? Alright, the pacing was pretty bad in my opinion. Like, the pacing felt rushed. Like, in 1 minute we were in medieval times. Well, at the beginning of the film, everything was fine until the Decepticons showed up. After that, the movie was kind of all over the place. We had the DRF, we had the Decepticons, then we had Cogman showing up. And from there on, everything just felt so rushed in my opinion. We were in London, he was explaining stuff. We had one shot there, one shot here, one shot over there. It was just so, I don't know, like so fast paced in my opinion. It was really slow, the London scene. After that it picked up and everything was pretty much okay. But at the end I guess everything was fine, because we had to go from that introduction to the big evil threat to the middle of the film, where Optimus and the Autobots basically are reunited once again. I still don't really know how to feel about the pacing. I feel like it was extremely rushed. And that's something I really didn't like of the film. Also, the portrayal of the Decepticons. Now, Michael Bay has this tendency of making Transformers look humanoid. Like, sometimes it works. For example, Crossers, Drift, Hound, I don't have a problem with them. Optimus, Bumblebee. In my opinion, they all look good. Even Hard Rod looks good, even though he does remind me a lot of Lockdown. But the Decepticons, it's where I have a problem with. they were portrayed as punks, savages, bullies, basically. I mean, I get it. They're the bad guys. They're basically bullies, so you're right in that department. But they're portraying it as punks, as, you know, street punks, that kind of stuff. Mohawk, I thought he was alright. He had some personality to him. Onslaught was really bland, which I did not like. Nitro, he was the more attractive of all the Decepticons. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. Oh yeah, you suck. I know where you live. I'm gonna go hunt you down. You know what I mean, right? That's what I didn't like about the Decepticons. Even Barricade, to some degree, you could tell he had that punk look to him. He had that what's it called, necklace. I don't know if you can call it a necklace or whatever. That Decepticon necklace. Mohawk had that mohawk. You could tell they were like designed to be punks, basically. I really did not like that at all. Also, Quintessa's motives were really vague. Like she said, oh yeah, Unicron, he's bad, we need to destroy him. Now, Earth needs to die so Cybertron can live. I was like, okay, yep, sure. But, why? Why is Unicron so bad? I mean, he's been asleep for thousands of years. Why would you want to kill him? If, you know, he hasn't woken up since. I don't know, just something that bugs me. But I guess now we could probably say why. But I guess now this kind of tells us why Sentinel Prime basically betrayed the Autobots. Maybe because, you know, Quintessa told him to do it. And you could probably, you know, make that comparison of Sentinel Prime with Quintessa, you know, going to the same thing, him being corrupted or something, telling him that Unicron must die, bringing Cybertron so they could destroy it together, that kind of stuff, you know. In my opinion, this kind of improves Dark of the Moon a little, because it gives us, you know, at least some background, like some ideas to why Sentinel Prime betray the Autobots. So I'm gonna put that as a plus, as a good thing for the movie, but as a bad thing, Quintessa's motives were really big. Like, that didn't make a lot of sense. But Quintessa was a pretty cool villain. I like how she was so different. Like, she was a female, she had what it looked to be magic, said lightning from Star Wars. It was pretty cool. And the kids weren't in the movie for that long, so that's another plus. But the Dinobots were so absent from the film. We saw Grimlock and Slug, but I didn't see Scorn or Strafe. Maybe they were in the background, but I did not see them whatsoever. And I was really disappointed when they didn't show up for the final battle. I mean, we still had Dragonstorm, but come on, we all want to see Grimlock. Even the trailers told us that Grimlock was gonna be part of the movie. Like, some way he was gonna be part of the main group, but he was absent throughout most of the film, which I was really disappointed about. Oh, also, for all of you Sam fans, we saw a small picture of Sam with Wiki, which was a nice callback to him, and a nice way to try and tie everything together. But one of the biggest things that pissed me off was Megatron. We never saw how Galvatron turned into Megatron. Supposedly Quintessa did it, but it never got explained, and that pissed me off. Also, Barricade went missing again. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that he's still around, so he can have his rematch with Bumblebee. But other than that, oh my god, Michael Bay, stop doing that. Stop making Barricade disappear like that. The film was heavily rushed. The actions were pretty good. We got a couple good scenes, a couple nice humor here and there. But most of the humor was actually pretty spot on. Does it deserve all the hate it's getting? I don't think the movie deserves all the hate. I mean, I can get why, but you gotta remember, it's a Michael Bay film. And it's usually, you know, just action, adventure, Michael Bay humor. I didn't see a lot of, you know, product placement or American flags here and there. Like, I didn't see a lot of that. Which I was actually kind of really happy about, because that's signature Michael Bay. So yeah, the Raging Nation basically gave the movie a 4 out of 10. Mostly because, I don't know, he didn't find it that good, I guess. But he gives The Last Night a 4 out of 10, but he gives Age of Extinction, a movie whose pacing was so slow that we didn't see the Dinobots until the last act, an 8.5. Now this movie had more screen time, more well, they didn't have more Dinobots, but they had a lot more action. And the pacing was a lot faster. Yeah, I will admit that. But would you rather have slow pacing and like barely any action, or would you rather have like super fast, but like fast pacing and have a lot of action? Personally, I will take the latter. So I'm gonna go with The Last Night. And honestly, I saw it on 3D. It was great. IMAX, you guys gotta see it in IMAX. I cannot recommend that enough because it's one of the most gorgeous films you're gonna watch this year. And that's pretty much it for me. Now, where will I rank this? Well, it was good in my opinion. Like, I enjoyed it. I know it had flaws, but still, I went for this for the action, for that kind of stuff, to see the Autobots beat up the Decepticons. So I would say I wasn't as bad as people will make it out to be. It's not as good as Dark of the Moon or the first movie, but it's not Revenge of the Fallen level so bad. And I think it was somewhat better than Age of Extinction. So I will slightly place it above Age of Extinction. That's just me, okay? Slightly. Emphasis on the word slightly, like it's only slightly, like by a small margin, better than Age of Extinction. I would give the movie a 6.5 out of 10, maximum. From a critical standpoint, of course. From a fan standpoint, I would probably give it a 7 or a 6. Because I like the movie, but I'm really happy it's Michael Bay's last movie. Now we can get a new director to make Transformers 6. Basically, the Bumblebee spin-off already has a new director who focuses on story and stuff. So I still don't know how to feel about the Bumblebee spin-off because The Last Night kind of got me a bit, you know, I like it, but I think it would be better if Hasbro, instead of continuing the movie franchise, would just start from a new clean slate, like reboot the franchise and start over from the beginning. Like start a new continuity, basically. Like get rid of all this other movie stuff and make your own new universe, your own new Transformers universe. Kind of like Spider-Man did with The Amazing Spider-Man and later Spider-Man Homecoming. But yeah, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on the Bumblebee spin-off some more time. My brother's gonna make a review later, so stay tuned for that. Also, what are your thoughts on the movie? Are you guys happy that the Decepticons at least got some screen time? Are you guys happy how the movie ended? Do you guys think Quintessa's, you know, an okay villain? I thought she is. Also, she's a Prime apparently. So that's the Fallen, Sentinel Prime, Optimus Prime, and now we have Quintessa. So 4 Primes. Great, so much for the last Prime. Am I right? Anyways guys, so the movie wasn't a total letdown. It wasn't a total letdown. I thought it was pretty good. I'm still gonna do more Transformers stuff. Talk about the Bumblebee spin-off and what else could Hasbro do for the franchise. But I'm gonna end this video right now because it's been so freaking long, okay? Anyways guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.